Hello, in this tutorial you will learn how to set up TAPAS for your first launch. You need some prerequisites. First you need to find our website, which is shown here. It's GitHub dlr-vf/tapas. And you need some programs installed before. We will not show you how to install this. Perhaps you already have installed them, or you have some database servers running elsewhere where you want to set up the things. The things you need is a password for a user which can create databases. You need a functioning Java development kit. We used at least Java version 11, and you need some kind of Git to clone all the repositories. What we show you is how to clone the repository, how to prepare and how to do the first build, and how to set up an initial database connection and database dataset for launching some kind of our demo run. We will do this via the command line. So first things you need is to clone the repository. So you just copy this, open a command line under Windows or under Linux a terminal window. We use here a portable version of Git, and then you will get to store my credentials, password managers. You will get a new folder in your current working directory called TAPAS. If you want a different directory, see the Git documentation how to do this. You basically do this by specifying the path after the GitLab repository URL. So cloning TAPAS, oh yeah, I need to do this a second time. Take some time. So then you just switch to the new created folder. I'm using Windows over here. So, and you see there are some programs, some zip files, and some source codes. The only thing you need, we're using Gradle to set to get all the needed jar files and to do your initial build. So next thing you do is just type in Gradle Build. Doing so will compile all the jar files and the Java files in the source directory and fetch all the needed jar files from the Maven repositories. So after that, you can do the first big thing over here in the and type in the installer. If you would do so, of course you have to enter at the command line, very ugly, the password. Since we set up our database server for especially this tutorial, we have a very nice password, TAPAS tutorial. You will see here that there is no, we're using PostGIS 12, 11 goes well as well, and there is just the template GIS database and PostGIS database, which is which come from the installing of PostGIS. After you type in your server URL located here, your the new name and database TAPAS, and the admin user PostGIS and its password. There will be a lot of SQL files executed. If you switch, you will see that there is a newly created database TAPAS. And the installer will give you a lot of SQL functions and which are needed in order to run the program. Next step is you have to tell TAPAS how to access the database. Then you, in this example, you will have to specify some kind of credential file, which is called runtime CSV in this case. In starting, so there is a lot of parameters. You don't need all of them right now. The only thing you need to enter, of course, is the host of your database, which is in this case localhost. If you have another, if you have a database running on a different server, different computer, you have to type in his host name or his IP over here, get all that credentials, and you have to tell TAPAS the password. Save. Next thing over here is we can start the Simulation Control Center. The first time you're starting the Simulation Control Center will ask you exactly where it will find its login credentials. Then you just type in the newly created credentials and you will get this window. Here you can first switch your language. I have to restart the whole thing. As you see, it will remember your credential files. And there's nothing in here because there are no simulation servers and there are no simulation keys because there's simply nothing which is running in the background. So the second thing you need to do is you need the Simulation Daemon. There can be multiple simulation daemons on different computers. TAPAS is is able to run on distributed computer and clusters. So what I'm doing over here is copying this path because it needs to know how to start, where to start the simulation. So the Simulation Daemon is starting and you see it's running. Tells you to press Ctrl+C to finish it and it's waiting for a new simulation. So all of a sudden you see my IP address and it is running. It gives you a nice CPU usage, so my computer is doing some background things. This is mainly the our video streaming. So hooray, we set up a TAPAS server. Quite easy, just starting the Simulation Daemon and giving it its root directory for the simulations. Next time is you have to choose a simulation file over here. Again, you can browse to our nicely prepared test runs and you start this reference 2010 thing. It is a sample from our used data, but it's stripped due to some legal issues to a very, very small data set. It's not representative at all. It will just show you that it runs and gives you some kind of results. You just add the simulation. Then you have in this lower control panel, you have the list of simulations in the database, which are currently just edit because R stands for ready, S stands for started, F for finished, and it's not ready, not started, not finished. And you will just make it ready. And all of a sudden, you see that it's ready and started. You have 1,000 households in the background. It's quite fast. It just fetched all the things from the database, simulates all the things, and then it's finished. It took 11 seconds. Next thing you can do is you can start this. This will produce some basic Excel sheets to check if your run has produced some reasonable results. I will give it a file. It exports this Excel sheet to TAPAS. And if you see it, then you see, okay, you had some output. It's not localized yet, but you see though, yeah, it's quite unrealistic modal split of public transport of 75%. This is due to this test set, which has only very few locations, which are very sparse distributed over the city of Berlin. And then you have to go for very long distances to reach your school, workplace, or your leisure activities. So this closes this tutorial. It's quite easy to do to set up tapas from the Git repository via the Gradle setup and via the Gradle tooling. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next tutorial video.